We have a path toward Republican victory. We could win the presidency if we have a substantive candidate who has honesty, integrity, and does exactly what he says he will do. The public is hungry for an honest man. We have one with Ron Paul. You might not agree with him on every issue, but Ron Paul will stand up for our Republican principles, and he will not waver or compromise those principles. The campaign is growing stronger every day. Ron is currently running third in the national polls and is second in a few of the early primary states. He's second among Republicans in fundraising. And Ron Paul raises the vast majority of his money from individuals, not the special interests. In 2008, Ron Paul supporters came up with the concept of money bombs, where everybody got involved and they sent money to the candidate in one day. And we set a couple of good records. On the anniversary of the Boston Tea Party, we raised $6 million for the Ron Paul campaign, and that's a record that's held today. In fact, Ron's son spoke in Boston at one of the first tea parties that we started during the 2008 cycle. This year, there's been 5 money bombs so far, all over $1 million, with the largest one happening on Ron Paul's birthday, where we were just shy of $2 million. Poll after poll already shows that Ron is a top contender for our nomination, and he has better numbers in a straight matchup with Obama. Many people don't realize that the 14th district is 25% Hispanic. Ron Paul consistently wins the Hispanic vote, and he currently polls higher among minorities than all the other Republican candidates. Ron Paul believes that in order to protect all the minorities, you have to protect the smallest minority, the individual. Ron is the only Republican to take on and defeat Obama in 2012. Before entering politics, Ron was an OB/GYN. He's delivered over 4,000 babies. He's 100% pro-life. If Ron is president, he will work toward the repeal of Roe versus Wade. Ron Paul has never voted to raise taxes. He's never voted for an unbalanced budget, has never voted to raise the debt ceiling, never voted to restrict gun ownership or increase the power of the executive branch. He has never voted against or for internet restrictions, and he has never voted for any legislation unless that measure is expressly authorized by the Constitution. Ron Paul states that our Constitution is the most unique and best contract ever drawn up between a people and their government in the history of mankind. How many people got delegate bags? In those delegate bags, you should have had a Ron Paul pocket constitution. And he wanted to give that to each one of you so you would always have a personal copy that you could carry with you and keep. Politicians shred our Constitution every single day. Ron Paul is the only candidate who will never shred the Constitution. He will mend it. In 2008, the media pushed the pendulum further toward totalitarianism than any time in our country's history. As a result of media malpractice, America elected the most liberal member of Congress. In 2012, we have an opportunity to reverse that swing and move the pendulum an equal distance toward freedom by electing the most conservative member of Congress, and that's Ron Paul. And the media is basically ignoring a lot of our candidates. In the Fox debate the other night, two candidates near center stage received 29 questions between the two. Ron Paul received 6th, next to last. Another way to look at it is Ron Paul, who is running 3rd nationally, only got 4.5 minutes out of 2 hours. Was this a fair and balanced debate? The media is now trying to assert that we as Republicans only have 2 choices. We can either vote for the candidate from the Ted Kennedy wing of the party, or we can vote for the candidate from the Al Gore wing of the party. They ignore the only candidate from the small government wing of the party who has personally been endorsed by Ronald Reagan, and that's Ron Paul. In 1976, the media described Ronald Reagan as a libertarian Republican, much in the same way they describe Ron Paul today. In an interview with Reason magazine, Reagan once said, "The very heart and soul of conservatism is libertarianism." And then he went on to say that libertarianism and conservatism are traveling the same path. If you consider Reagan to be a Republican icon, then each one of you out there has a little bit of libertarian in you. And that's a good thing. It means you're a Republican who values your life, your liberty, and freedom. You want minimal government, and you want to keep the fruits of your labor. But isn't that what a conservative wants too? Liberty unites us all, but the media is always trying to keep us divided. Reagan understood. In '64, he said, "You and I are told we must choose between a left or a right, but I suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There is only an up or a down. Up to man's age-old dream, the maximum of individual freedom consistent with order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism." Once you understand that the left and right is a false dichotomy, you will begin to understand the real choices in this presidential race. We really do only have 2 choices: Ron Paul or anyone else. So I want to thank RPOF and staff for putting on this great event. I want to thank you all for coming. I really wish this process could have been more inclusive, because this really isn't a straw poll that reflects a candidate's organizational strength. This type of straw poll won't tell us who the next president is, but it's very important to us as Republicans for another reason. It gives us an introspective look at ourselves and shows our progress toward the Republican goals of smaller government, less taxes, more personal liberty, as reflected by the candidates we choose. The Ron Paul vote today is a barometer of how far toward freedom we have come as a Republican Party. We can restore America now only if we vote for Ron Paul. And remember that nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. Vote for Ron Paul 2012. Thank you.